Everyone, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, our Oceanside edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas, HOKA, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, SFuels, launching their all-new zone fuels. You can get a free sample below. And our Challenged Athletes Foundation, we just sent out over $7 million to challenged athletes in over 70 countries. And that was over 4,000 grants, $7 million, our biggest year ever. Our next guest, two-time 70.3 world champion, 16th at her first Olympic Games in the individual, silver medal in the mixed relay, qualified for her second Olympic Games coming up this summer. The great Taylor Knibb joins us. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm well, Bob. How are you?
I am spectacular. We get to see you this week in Oceanside.
Oh, yes, hopefully. Yes.
Hey, so curious. Night before the Olympics, your first Olympic Games, night before your first Kona, what was the difference in terms of the way you slept? Was it tough? Was one more nerve-wracking than the other?
Well, one, I had a 2 a.m. wake-up call. That was the Olympics. And the other, I think it was like a 4 a.m. wake-up call. So I'd take the 4 a.m. wake-up call any day. maybe it was like 3:45. I don't remember fully, but yeah, I do remember it was like, I think it was 2:15 or 2:30 because the race was supposed to start at 6:30, and 4 hours. So yeah.
I always thought you for the ITU Olympic format, you guys start later in the day rather than those early first thing races.
No, because it was Tokyo, and actually Paris is starting at 8 a.m. So it's just like we can start anytime, any day, as long as it's light out for now.
So coming off injury in 2023, you end up winning Boulder 70.3, PTO US Open, your second world championship at 70.3. You're playing with house money at that point. You have a great season. And then you go to Ironman World Championships and have a great race there. What do you take away from this past season?
Well, I think the big goal was to qualify for Paris. That was like my primary aim, and I was fifth. So I checked that box, which has just been a massive relief this year. But so I think it was like, there were timelines where it was like better than expected. And then like, so my first race back was Yokohama. I was third. That was the best case scenario for my surgeon, that I'd be back racing. And then I get sick the week after. So it's kind of like ups and downs and a mixture, but I think I learned a lot, and I learned that I need to be a little bit more focused and purposeful. So like, I think that was a good lesson to learn, because Kona was fun, but it also wasn't in some ways. And I definitely hope to be back and have a better performance.
So you also were fourth at the 2023 U.S. National Time Trial Championships. Is the goal to perform in both sports in Paris?
Oh, well, actually, so fully transparent, I've submitted a petition to be able to race, because so the men's entry requirements I would hit, because I'm no longer on a UCI Worlds team. I didn't want to sign that contract. Like, my focus is Paris. But the men's, they have 6 entry requirements, and one of their entry requirements is that you're top 10 at the time trial nationals the previous year. I was fourth. Yes. But I'm not a man, so I don't hit that requirement. I'm like, welcome to the world of cycling. So the women have different requirements. They only have 3 requirements, and one is like, be a member of a domestic elite team, be a member of a UCI World team, and then a Cat 1 or Cat 2 pro. So I hit the male requirement, don't hit the female. So I've submitted a petition that I want to race, but we'll see if I'm approved or not. So
isn't that interesting in this day and age that you've got different rules in men's and women's cycling rather than in running and triathlon? Everything is pretty damn even.
Well, actually, so in the time trial in Paris, it'll be the first year ever that the men and the women race the same distance in the time trial. The first time. So it's like, yeah, so it's like one of the probably most gender equal sports to probably one of the most inequitable sports. So it's it's tough going the other way.
Well, you know, what's fascinating about that is when I wrote a little piece for the Ironman Carbo Party on the history of women, because it was an all women's race, right? And when you think about it, with us, a woman named Lynn Lemaire in the 79 Ironman was in second place for a big chunk of the bike ride and finished 5th overall. And we've always had equal prize money. When Ironman started money in 86, it was equal. UST Triathlon Series always had equal prize money. And Valerie Silk was the woman who led the Ironman. We've always had gender equality in our sport. And it sort of dumbfounds me in this day and age. When you think back, Joan Benoit won the first ever Olympic marathon for women in 84. It's crazy. So Taylor, you've been doing this sport so long. I mean, you were a little girl when you got into this sport. You still love it as much as when you were a little girl?
Oh, I do. I think I probably love it more in a lot of ways, and differently. I mean, it's like I have a different relationship with the sport now, but like I still love it. I still love getting to do what I do every single day and learning. And I think that's like the things that triathlon provides me is why I love it so much.
What did you learn from Kona?
Well, so much, but I think oh, it just like it exposes so many weaknesses, but like I realize why Kona is so special for the sport. Like I really think that like I've been fortunate enough to race Ironman races, PTO races, World Triathlon races, race at the Olympics, like, and I really think that like Ironman races are the heart and soul of the sport. Like they have a soul, and it's hard to explain. It's just like a feeling and a sensation, but it's like these are just so special, and there's nothing you can do to replicate it or change it. Like they're my favorite races probably. And then like because just it's just the atmosphere and lining up together and kind of just like everyone has a little bit of fear. It's a really like like you're all exposed, but also I think just like going to a place where there's so much history.
Yes.
Like there's nothing like that. I don't want to say that we've had the same experiences on the island, but we probably have had similar experiences on
Absolutely.
the island. Like, and that's a shared experience that you just don't have. And there's been what, like 40 plus years of those shared experiences. Like that's why it's such a special race.
It's funny when I walk down those little stairs to the to where the pier is. When you walk down those little cement stairs, I always flash back to think about all the people who have walked down those stairs, from the guys who won the Ironman back in 80, Dave Scott and Tom Warren, and all these people who've walked down those same exact stairs with the same exact. I mean, the thing when you go to a short distance race, unless something really weird happens, you're going to finish the race. I don't care if you're an Ironman world champion. When you go to the start line in Kona, you don't know what's going to happen you and the age grouper. Nobody knows what's going to happen that day.
Well, yeah, like you look at all the greats, and I'm sorry. Well, okay, so there's one exception that I can think of is Christy
Yes.
Wellington. But every single other great, like Jan Frodeno, Daniela Reef, Marinda Carfrey, like everyone's been humbled by the island at some point. So it's like it's just incredible, like how like even the people who have conquered it on the best days have also had probably some of their worst days. Like I don't, it's horrible, but it's like you just like roll the dice and see what you have on the day.
Well, and your day, when I look at it, you did everything. I mean, you look at it and probably go, okay, I had a penalty, I dropped stuff flew off my bike. Maybe my eating wasn't quite, but going into something like that, you're taking not a risk, because it's you qualify. You had never done a marathon, you've never done a full Ironman, and you're sort of stepping into the unknown with people who are, to be honest, they're drop dead killers. They're out there, and Lucy Charles is there to freaking win the race, and she's not like thinking, oh, Taylor, this is her first time, how fun is that? No, she's there. She's there to go and put the hammer down and say, come catch me.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why like I've always been intrigued by it. Like I'm sorry, but like Ironman and especially the World Championships in Kona has always been my dream. It wasn't the Olympics. And so like I know a lot of people have had the Olympic dream, but like that's how I was introduced to the sport. Like I would walk down and my mom would be in the workout room and she would be like riding her bike, and like you'd see the flag to the finish line, and I had no idea what it was. But if you give me that shot, like as probably like a 6-year-old, I could have told you like, oh, that's what my mom watches all the time. And so it's just like, but I've always been like, I was always intrigued by it. So it's like, what better way to try it and see if I actually like it? And unfortunately, I do really like it. Didn't like the 6 weeks after the race where I felt absolutely worthless, but it was, but you got
curbs are not your friend after you finish an Ironman. Trying to walk up them, down them, stairways, all that stuff is awful.
Well, yeah, the upstairs surprised me the most. It was like I was expecting down, like eccentric loading, but then up the stairs for a week. But then also I just felt like my body was just depleted for probably 6 weeks after. And then like 6 week mark, I was like, a new person, but otherwise I was just like, I'd go out on a ride and it'd be like eating like 10 minutes in because I'm like just dying. So it, I definitely had to respect it, and it drained my body completely.
Another unique race. I love the Oceanside 70.3 race because I think it's something you probably enjoy. Obviously, you won it in 2022. But what's cool is you start in the ocean and you swim into the bay, so you have to deal with a little surf. And then Camp Pendleton, there's parts of that course that you can't ride except on race day. I mean, it's a military base, so there's those climbs on the backside of the base you are not allowed to be in. And then the run, the multiple loop course with that bridge you go up and over, good crowds. You like this course?
Well, I'm not sure. I like the race. I love the race. But actually, last time I raced it, this is going to become a common theme. Was like I was probably just exhausted for 2 weeks after. Like it's a tough race, and especially for this early in the season.
Yeah.
And it's deceptive, I think, because well, so first off, I think I would argue it's probably like the hardest like bike course in North America.
Yes.
I haven't raced in Europe, but like compared to St. George, I would say that Oceanside Spike is harder. And then because also you descend, and so you have like a little non-pedaling time, and then you're going back into the wind because you're heading back towards the beach, like the ocean. So it's like it's just tough in that way. And then the run because you're on cement, but also it's kind of fast, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Like people will look at fast run times and think like, oh, that was easy. It's not an easy run course. It just happens to be a fast run course.
So you've been in the sport long enough to back in the day, if you wanted to go faster in the swim or in the bike, you could buy faster wheels, you can get a better wetsuit, but running was running. Now with the plated shoes, how much of a difference do you think they've made?
Oh, I have no idea because you're talking to someone who's mostly been in the sport with them. So like I'm not like the kids who've grown up with the shoes, but I have never done a 70.3 without them. So
Oh, that's right. With the longer distance. Yeah. So you've been through the whole thing with the plated shoes. Besides, this is a long season because the 70.3 Worlds in Taupo is in December. What are your plans after the Olympics? Do you take some time off, or you've got PTO series, you got or the T100 series, you got the Ironman World Series, you got so much going on. It's a great time to be a pro. This is probably the greatest time ever in terms of sponsorship, prize money, etc. But it's also there's a lot of opportunity and a long season.
yeah, well that's it's still a bit like probably flexible in terms of what happens, but I'm hoping to race the next T100. I think it's in Ibiza after. So
Yes.
end of September, like it's a week after Nice, after the Olympics. So I don't know what it'll look like in between the two, but then focus more on the half distance and T100 distance in the fall. So it's kind of like 2 seasons in one. I'm very much short course focused right now. I'm only doing Oceanside to validate. So I think I did my first prep workout for this race on Saturday. So week out. I mean, I'm really prepared. But yeah, I just need to check a box, do what I need to do, and validate because now Ironman's reintroduced the validation. So as even though I have my qualification, I have to complete a 70.3 by June 30th or win in Paris. So I'm going to complete a 70.3 to guarantee it.
And then go win Paris. So you qualify twice.
Oh, that's tough, but who knows? Maybe that'll put Nice back on the table. You never know.
So when you did your first Olympic Games, and a lot of having that first Olympic experience for people who've ended up winning medals that I've interviewed before, they always talk about that first Olympic Games was such a great learning experience for them. I remember talking to Gwen, and she learned a lot from 2012. What did you gain from that first Olympic experience in terms of the individual race?
Oh, well, so I kept on being told like it's just another race, it's just another race. And it was like the most accurate and inaccurate statement in the world. Because like from the minute the horn goes off until you cross the finish line, yeah, it's just another race. But everything from like a second before to a second after is different. So like you're like we normally have 15 minutes in short course racing between end of swim warm up and call up. So that's like a 15-minute chunk. In the Olympics, it's bumped out to 30 minutes. So it's just a little like everything's a little different. And there's so much more noise and there's so much more attention and there's so much more like pressure. So yeah, like like that's in part why I think Kona was a really good learning experience for me, and in dealing with like learning how to say no, setting boundaries. Because I mean,
Yes.
the media is a bit pushy. I mean, the media. There's one person who reached out to my manager, and he said no, and then reached out to me directly, and I said no. And my manager, like, I copied on the email, and he's like, "Wow, they're incessant. Like, they're gonna go through any door and try to penetrate."
Right.
But yeah. I'm gonna have a media blackout starting on June 1st. So I'll get 8 weeks to focus on training and preparation, because it's tough when you're trying to like perform the best you ever have, and then you have a lot of extra stress. Like, I felt like my first Olympic Games, like the 5 or 6 weeks leading into it, like I was just on all the time because I was either training or like doing extra things, and so then it all adds up. So getting some things out of the way earlier is also a strategy.
Well, and that Olympics in Tokyo, there wasn't fans, right? So not you had some fans on the tri-course, but you didn't have that issue as well. So this time Paris will be crazy. It will be it's going to be it'll be like London. I wasn't Rio was okay, but London was amazing, and I have a feeling Paris is going to be like that as well.
Oh yeah, and that comes with its own challenges too. Because like the one thing that I thought like after Tokyo was like one thing that I did not want to do was stay in the village again, but like due to security reasons and also due to like just the transportation issues, USAT is requiring us to stay in the village. So it's like it is what it is. But like I would really prefer to not be there, because it's just a lot of noise and a lot of people. And I know that what helps me prepare the best is just being able to shut off and like turn off. And the walls are very thin in the village, so
Yes, they
both
are. Yes.
both physically and metaphorically.
Yeah, no, it's being Olympic Village is so tough because no other race you do are you in a position like that where you're in Olympic Village. You're staying in a hotel in most of the other races you go to, and your teammates are around. But it's the Olympic Village is just such a different experience.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to go to the Pan Am Games last year. But like after Kona, I was just like, you know what, it's smarter like save Paris for Paris. So because I wanted that kind of village experience, but
Yes,
didn't happen. So
I love it. Taylor, thank you. I know you have other workouts to do because you've got a big race coming up this week.
well, I wouldn't say yes. It's a big race. Every race is a big race.
Love it. Well, it'd be great to see you here in Oceanside, and thank you for always being so generous with your time. I appreciate it. Good luck with your build up to Paris, because it's going to be really fun to see you there for your second Olympics.
Well, thank you, and I hope to see you later this week.
All right, Taylor Knibb has been our guest. Everybody, again, Breakfast with Bob on our not quite Kona edition. This is our Oceanside edition. We got Oceanside 70.3 coming up on Saturday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you later. Bye.